Hello everybody, welcome back to Alan Wall's Photography. This is Alan and I have something unusual for you today. We're talking to another photographer. I am sent a lot of photographs to look at and I love it. It's very inspirational and motivational for me to see all the work you're doing. I received an email from a young man named Pawel Skokowski who lives in the UK, Leeds, I believe, but he's originally from Poland. He had sent me a small section of his portfolio, his macro portfolio, and I really loved the photographs. So I responded complimenting him on the photographs and learned that he's only been shooting macro photography for a period of months, less than a year. You can't look at these photographs without being inspired. And if you're new to macro photography, looking at these photographs will I think give you a realistic idea of what you can accomplish in a relatively short time. So what I'd like to do today is share Pawel's photographs with you. But rather than just show you the pictures, I thought it would be a cool idea if Pawel could explain to you his techniques, his gear, how he thought the various shots up. I thought it would be good for this channel to spread a little bit of new information from a different perspective from a new macro photographer. So without any further ado, we're going to go over to the discussion that he and I had in which we look at about 20 of his photographs. So let's get into it. Let's go talk to Pawel. Well, I'm glad to say I am here on a Zoom call with Pawel Skokowski, a Polish gentleman residing in the UK. Pawel, thank you so much for joining us. And
you're mostly welcome.
I've already explained how our paths crossed and how impressed I was with your images. But we'd like to just take a little bit of time today to go through some of those pictures and have you explain to my audience how you created some of these really fantastic images, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Basically, I bought my first DSLR just 2.5 years ago, and to be honest, it was laying on my shelf for at least 4 months until I picked it up. Always like to take the pictures, but I've been using my phone most of the time as I didn't have a proper camera.
Mm-hmm.
Since I finally bought and picked it up after that, my DSLR, which was Nikon D5600,
mm-hmm.
I went out for a walk. And I've been so disappointed with shooting in auto. That was just, well, let's just say I wasn't happy about it, what I'm getting. That was what catch me in photography. I didn't come back home until I figured out how to use manual.
The first time you used the camera, you taught yourself how to operate the thing?
I mean, how to get a proper exposure.
Your photographs, which we're going to be looking at in just a minute, look like the photographs of somebody who's been doing macro photography for a long time. Where did your interest in macro come from? What is it about these particular subjects that you find so appealing?
I always had interest in entomology, in insects, but in all sorts of plants as well, basically wildlife.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I always wanted to be able to photograph really small subjects and show them big in a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I started my macro photography last year, April.
Really?
Yeah.
A year ago.
I tried before that with extension tubes, but I wasn't happy with the result as I had a lot of ghosting. Now I know that that was inside reflections, which is a pain.
There are a lot of things about photography you have to learn and relearn in macro, because everything,
Yeah.
while our subjects are magnified, so are a lot of our poor techniques. But I'd like to jump into your photographs and go through some of the ones that really grab my attention. Now, you are not currently making a living with your photography, right?
At the moment, I've got a small project. I'm photographing gems, minerals for a private shop. That's difficult.
Yeah, that is a whole other kind of macro photography. Well, let's jump into your images. This is a unique photograph in your portfolio, but one that I find very appealing. Can you tell me how this photograph came about? What it is we're looking at?
Yeah, basically, do you remember when all that lockdown started? All of photography related YouTubers start doing macro ideas. 99% of them, people that weren't related to macro in any way, they've been doing like ideas in the kitchen with oil on water. And that's what it is. Just oil drops on water. And basically I was watching those videos and I've been like, okay, that's cool, that's have a potential, but I didn't see anything artistic in photographs that other people were taking, so I made my own attempt.
Is the oil and water backlit somehow?
No, it's top lit. What I did, I took a glass jar, put some water, oil on it, and below that, I put one of my backgrounds. So that white spot that you can see on the screen, it's basically white spot on the background itself. It's not a light.
Okay. It's a very successful photograph. This is a really wonderful portrait. Tell me, how many shots did you have to take of this ant? I know how fast they move.
Actually, not too many. I think I've ended up with around 30 or 40 for that picture. Because that was quite a long still. She was running back and forward, but when she came to that edge, she basically froze. This actually was quite a selective focus stack. It's not a single shot. I think I used 3 pictures for this because most of the ant was in photos. It was one antenna and front legs that I have to paint it back.
How are you lighting this particular subject? Is this natural light?
I'm using flash on camera with my homemade diffuser. That's basically a piece of paper shaped in a cone, and that's how I lit most of my pictures. If we're talking about living insects, flowers, that's completely different story. What I'm finding making a biggest difference is shape of your diffuser.
Yes, huge difference. What kind of diffusion material do you use, by the way?
A regular A4 paper for printer. It's the cheapest one that you can get.
Well, you know, I'm all about the cheapest. Well, talking about flowers, here's another selective focus image that's very eye-catching.
That's a single shot.
Tell me about the shot. Was this done with a tripod?
No, handheld. To be honest, I hate tripods. I prefer to do it handheld. I'm using tripod quite a lot, but I not really enjoy it.
Yeah, I have stopped taking a tripod in the field.
In the field, it's a bit no. I know some people love to take tripod to the middle and sit 2 hours next to the piece of grass waiting for something to happen. I'm not that patient.
Did you do anything with the background for this photograph to get that gradient?
Basically, I've got my own backgrounds that I just printed on a regular printer, on a regular paper, and glued it to some filter cards.
Do you carry them in the field with you?
Sometimes. I did them double-sided, so I've got 2 in 1. This is a pro tip for backgrounds in the field. Take knife with you, get a stick, sharp it, and get one of those clamps that we all using. Put stick to the ground and clamp your background on whatever level you want.
Lovely. Tell us about this one.
That was shot with again with one of my backgrounds, and basically it's the same background as you have seen on the first photo. I spent around 15 to 20 minutes with a toothpick placing those pedals in the right places.
Well, it worked. You got them just perfect. Now, do you use clamps to hold your flowers, stems steady? How do you deal with the freeze?
No, I don't, because usually I'm messing up and flowers ending up being cut off.
Oh yeah, not a good.
So I rather take some small stone, whatever I can find, just to push it a little bit to the direction that I want it. For flowers, I'm using continuous light. I'm not using flash. And another thing, I'm using a ring flash.
A ring flash?
That ring light that you put in front of your lens.
Yeah.
That actually works as a continuous light.
What lens are you using for most of these?
Sigma 105 2.8 macro. That's absolute beast for a price. And this is lens I will recommend absolutely to everyone that wants to get to macro.
Yeah.
Easy to use and extremely sharp.
Yes. It's a fantastic lens. This is a beautiful photograph. How in the world did you catch this action?
There was mating time for them. And I went to the middle, and on each piece of grass was like 4 couples, 3 couples. Just pick one and shoot it.
Okay, so this wasn't as rare as it looks. It looks like
it is rare in way that you can shoot picture like this for maybe maximum 1 week in a year.
They look more like they're fighting than loving. But,
yes, on the left you've got the male, and on the right it's a female, and basically male producing some kind of smell from antennas. So females coming closer, making a sniff, and deciding if they want to
now
make the babies.
Tell me, before we get too far into the details of that, for some people it's an absolute no-no to alter photographs to remove distractions like that. I don't feel that way at all.
I'm removing a lot of distractions because insects are dirty, and I'm most of the time in post I'm spending with a clone stamp tool, spotting brush.
This is a beautiful, beautifully composed shot. Tell me about this damselfly.
That was evening, I think around 5-6 p.m. I basically spotted it flying above the middle, and I was crawling in the grass for a good 40 minutes before I managed to take this picture.
I love the light blue picked out against the yellow flower in the background. Really beautiful.
That's natural background.
This is an interesting one. We have a species just like that over here. The first thing I thought when I saw this photograph, a lot of macro photographers go out of their way to shoot jumping spiders and other cute looking spiders with the fangs hidden. They look for the shot where the tips of the fangs aren't visible. You've got them on display here.
Oh, I love the fangs.
Yeah, me too.
That was actually shot in my room in a studio environment. I wanted to shoot in a studio. That's exactly the reason why I've got fangs in a picture, because I captured this spider, and small background. I used to have loads of tarantulas. So I'm a spider guy. I absolutely love spiders. And what I learned from keeping tarantulas is that after a meal, they cleaning their fangs. So I kept this spider, and I was feeding it just to take pictures how he's cleaning his fangs now.
Is that's
what you're looking at?
Big set of fangs. Lovely picture. I love the green on green. It works great. This is beautiful.
That's caterpillar, but don't ask me what species this is because I have no idea.
What made you decide on this color background. I think it's extremely effective.
The caterpillar itself is a little bit silver bluish, or at least I see it that way. Maybe a little bit of greenery in there, but I don't know. That background, it's my T-shirt. It's honestly
Is
my
it really?
T-shirt. Yeah, and it just works so well.
Did you think to try to stack this?
That's a single shot.
What aperture were you shooting at?
Most of the time, like 95% of the time, I'm on f11. With a Sigma 105, 95% of the time I'm on f11 if I'm going for 1:1. I've got as well Laowa 100 millimeters, 2:1. That's absolutely amazing lens. And on that one, sometimes I will go to f4.
This is my favorite photograph, and it was the first picture of yours that I saw. It's a very unconventional composition. Tell me how you decided to shoot it like this.
Basically, I wanted to have a whole mayfly in a shot. I didn't consider how long those strings from the tail are. That was shot outdoor with natural background next to the stream, and I wanted it all in a picture. And those strings look so amazing. I think they making this composition.
This would not have been the same photograph if you had moved 6 inches to the right.
I love negative space. I absolutely love playing with negative space on the pictures and clean battlegrounds.
Did you use a filter to decrease the saturation in the lavender or whatever that plant is?
That's just piece of grass. I don't even know what it is.
Okay, but you
apparently most of grasses when they bloom in they are purple. But following your question, yes, I decreased a little bit of saturation in green colors.
Now this is another stunner. It looks like a posed photograph.
Kinda is, because that was shot on my kitchen table when this ladybird flew to the kitchen and sit on a flower on the table.
Did you add the water drops or?
Yes. I'm not usually doing this, and I'm usually not taking a spray bottle with me, but as that bottle was sitting in my kitchen, I had a spray bottle next to me, so I thought, why not? This picture is my understanding of RGB. It's so perfect in this way.
Yes, it really is. This is extremely cool. These are weevils, I presume?
Yes, very small ones.
And this was in the field as well?
Yes, and that's a single shot.
Was this another situation where everything was covered in mating weevils and you just picked ones you liked, or was?
Yes. Basically, if you want to get picture like this, you have to kind of learn about your subject. As I've got small background in entomology, I kind of know where to look insects, what they are eating, when can be a mating time. So basically, learn about your subject, because if you do not go out with hope you will get an amazing picture like let's say these weevils, well, that's as well 1 week in a year.
Getting familiar with where your bugs live is a very smart idea for a macro photographer.
And as well as you see the mate as on this picture, they usually stand pretty still.
She's got some pretty stout hooks on her. Who's he and who's she? He's on top.
I think male is on top. That makes sense in insects.
Who knows? Who knows?
No one knows. To be honest, no one knows.
Did you pose this stink
Yes,
bug?
that's been fully posed, and that was shot in a studio environment. I choose flower background, and that shield bud basically was sitting next to my front doors. It feels weird because flower is so beautiful and so soft, and that shield bud, well, let's just say they are not the prettiest ones.
No, they're absolutely hideous.
Yes.
Though I like the subtle reds on the spines here. It's nice. It looks good in this pink flower. It looks sinister. Did you use a softbox?
That was just my regular diffuser with just a little bit lower flash output.
Well, it works well. Okay, this is my second favorite. I've been doing macro photography for a long time and have never managed to get this shot. How in the world did you manage to be in the right place and the right time to catch this guy pre-flight? Or is he landing?
No, he's starting fly, but it took at least 5 hours. At least 5 hours, and probably around 500 pictures.
That does not surprise me in the least. Well, your patience certainly paid off. This is an incredible photograph. Was this the same ladybug that came into your house?
Different one. Straight away after I took that picture, I looked at it and I was so disappointed that I don't have all wings in a frame.
Yeah,
Because that was handheld.
I don't think it matters in this photograph because they're so soft and out of focus. You have the red spine completely in the image. I think it works. I love it. And here we are to your fave. How do you get this guy shot? Is this in the field?
No, that's studio again. I try to shoot spiders in a studio environment. They are just so, at least jumping spiders, because they are so quick. Let's just save ourselves some time.
Yeah.
I don't have to put it that way. I shot it in a studio, and that was again around 400 pictures. Because I had my battleground, I had my leaf on a clamp, and I basically was waiting for that spider to be in the right place. And it took a lot of pictures.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I do the same thing. We actually have jumping spiders come in the house quite frequently, and I never disturb them. I let them go and eat whatever flies they want to eat and leave them alone.
This spider, it's a common species on your house wall in a gardens. So it's like, maybe not as that common as zebra jumping spider, but you can find it. Basically, all background and leaf composition that was planned straight away. It was just for a spider to sit still in one place for at least 5 seconds.
Well, it paid off. Another great photograph. Here's an interesting one.
That's alderfly, if I remember correctly.
Was this outdoors?
Yeah, that was one of meadows around my house. Just put a background behind it, and to be honest, I moved that alderfly from grass that was sitting onto the grass that I thought it looks better.
Okay. Well, it does look great.
They are quite calm on evenings, so you can just grab them and put in different place.
I love this composition too. The longer format.
I put it to specifically this grass stick, or to be honest, whatever it is, only because it have a really similar color to what you can see in the wings.
Yes, it works. This is what a longhorn beetle.
Longhorn, yes, that's actually Radium bifasciatum.
This does not look like it was posed. This was out in the field.
That was posed. It's a studio shot.
Is it really?
Yep.
What did you use as your background?
One of my backgrounds. I can show you one of them because I've got it next to me. It's honestly this background.
Is that printed?
Yeah, that's printed on a piece of paper. I've got a pink one from other side. It looks natural. It really looks natural.
Yes, it does. And the detail in the eyes is fantastic. This is a lovely photograph too.
They are quite big. They're like 2 inches maybe.
Yeah, they get big here too. Well,
So
it's
it's
a
not one, but because of that, it's a single shot. It's
uh-huh.
not it's not a star, but because they are so big, it had a bigger depth of field.
Right, very nice. And to wrap it up, this is my third favorite, I think. It is a really calming photograph to look at. Very understated. What are we looking at?
Do you remember that shield bud from a pink flower?
Yes.
It's eggs of that species.
How did you light this?
That was again my all the time favorite diffuser from piece of paper. For some reason, it worked so well in so many situations that it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
That piece of paper can be such a good diffuser.
Yes, this is a lovely image. You will have fascinated a lot of viewers who will find these photographs as appealing as I do. Have you started selling prints, or are you thinking about doing that?
I'm thinking about it. I'm on my way to set up a website
Where else can people see your work?
on my Instagram, and you can find me on Flickr as well.
Thank you so much for spending your time and giving us so many useful insights into how you do your work. We really, really appreciate it. You're a talented photographer. Take care.
Thank you, Alan. Take care. Bye.
So a huge thanks to Pawel Skokowski for sharing his work with us and taking the time to talk with us about it today. I'll put a couple of links in the show notes so that you can check out some of his other work, either on Flickr or his Instagram account. They're both in the show notes below. If this is a format that you think is useful or interesting, and if you'd like to see more videos in this vein, please let me know. And if you are a photographer interested in getting your work in front of some new people and you're not afraid to talk about it in a video, get in touch. Let me know. I'd be very interested in talking to you, and I think we'll certainly try to do this again if there's any interest. Thank you as always to my Patreon supporters and the people who are supporting what I'm doing through my website. If you want to become one of those people, here is a link to my Patreon page, and any help would be greatly appreciated. Something else you'll find in the show notes is a link invitation to Discord. If you haven't already joined the group, please consider doing so. It's a lot of fun, and the more the merrier. I'll be back in a few days. Until then, stay safe, be well, and keep sharing your photographs. I'll talk to you again soon. Good day.